cause behind that?
Well, there are many, many ways to think of it, but historically, have governments ever faked incidents or incited incidents in order to get them into wars? Nations.
I'm asking you, has that happened historically? I'm sure it has.
Yeah,
I don't think this is the case right here. I don't think that there was a conspiracy between Bush and Tony Blair to put these soldiers in as pawns so that we can jump into Iran. I think we're going to try to use other methods to stop their program.
There was an admiral who asked that we use diplomatic methods to get out of it, and that's where I wish that we would. I mean, I wish everybody would exercise diplomacy and compromise, and sometimes you have to give something up in order to achieve something better, peace. Sometimes you have to do that, and it seems like it's those ideologies that are not being talked about enough. What would a diplomatic compromise be? What would a diplomatic summit be here?
It's very hard in America when anyone from the Mideast has been so demonized that no matter what, it's impossible for some people to believe that the Iranians in any way could ever do anything ethical in any capacity. That they've somehow been dehumanized to the point where they're not people who, they're just the enemy. They're terrorists.
We're not talking about the Iranian people. We're talking about their government, who essentially has total control over them. They essentially have zero say in that government.
That's how people see us, I hope, in the world.
That's right. Our government, right? I hope people across the world don't think what George Bush is doing represents the American people, because the last election showed it does not.
But let me ask you this: like, what concerns me is that there's this environment now where we're almost more apt to trust our enemies than our allies, and that's very concerning to me.
But that is concerning when nearly everyone in
the
this
Bush administration for that. They've completely annihilated all of our trust.
See, I trust our allies and I trust our government much more than I trust our enemies on the war on terror.
But would you say, Elizabeth, that you trust the Bush administration as much as you did when he first took office?
Will you admit
you know what? In a time of war, I think you are in a position where you have to trust
Nearly
your
everyone in this administration is under indictment or suspicion. Nearly every person, from Karl Rove to Rumsfeld to Gonzalez. What do you have to do to get impeached in this country? What do you have to do?
That is not an extreme measure to try to impeach Bush.
What you're going to do is you have to have Monica Lewinsky come into your office. That's what you have to do.
Let me tell you something. People will laugh at that incident. People will brush that off, and I'm going to be Monica, and I'm going